Welcome to Book Club for Movies, everybody, for the week of, let's see if I'm doing this right, probably February 27th. I don't know. No time to look it up. I'm Ryan Miller, and also no time to look it up, Matt Amberg.
No time.
No time. We're doing this again. Did we do the last one on Saturday, too? We did, didn't we? So
every day is Saturday.
And
when I'm talking to you.
I've never heard anything less true. Oh, well, okay, all right. Thanks for the follow-up. That works. That's fine. I turn every day into a weekend.
You're my weekend.
I'm a veritable men at work. No, wait, lover boy, sorry.
Yes, I work for you. Remember when Scott Adsitt's character on 30 Rock was in Loverboy?
I do. We very recently watched that. And you know what? An appropriate aside this week, because we are, I know, said we were going to possibly do, in fact, I checked it, because when I found out what we were really going to do, I hadn't finished editing last week's episode yet. So there was a chance that I just did the thing where I cut it out and nobody's the wiser.
Who could be wise? Nobody.
But us being extremely wise,
we're wise.
When we said we were going to do Ant-Man Quantumania, said that we might maybe do Ant-Man Quantumania. Yes. So in hedging our bets, we have once again come out ahead and are not going to do that movie this week. I did end up watching it. Matt ended up getting sick, and here's the funny part, twist ending here.
Twist?
I'm sick now. If I sound a little funny, but like not in the I told an amusing joke type of way. Either way, I guess, whatever. I'm sick.
Yeah, I still am sick. Beth's been sick for 2 weeks.
Wow.
I'm going on a week now. Yeah,
it's not a contest.
We're holding on, and we are fighting it out, and there will be a winner. Because in my household, there is only two types of people. Winners and Beth.
Ooh. When she listens to this episode.
Well, no, Beth is higher than winners. Like Beth, nobody else can be Beth. You're either a winner or get out.
I don't know why I went the other way.
You can't be Beth, so get out. That's how we roll.
Nobody can be Beth. If you've learned anything from this podcast, it should be that.
There we go.
Speaking of which, this is Book Club for Movies. We watch one movie a week. We're not doing that this week.
No, but
it's television volleyball, wherein we have been watching shows for It's
been way too. Based on my list, I've had to carve out stuff because I'm like, I literally do not remember what to say about it at this point. It's been that long.
Yep. Yeah. So this is the show where we talk about what we've been watching. It's been long enough since we've done it. Typically, we do these live. At least that's what we've turned into, or what it's turned into since we've started the Patreon. That will come back. I figured since we kind of have this semi-ready to go, and also we have so much that we're not going to eat into any future live episodes at all. But yes, this has resulted in me hastily organizing the shows I have to talk about. And since we had hit something of a holding pattern for me, I had because I filled up on shows to talk about for this, and then I was like, okay, I'll just watch this show in the meantime. And now that show is going to be, I think, my finale for this episode, which we both kind of have a hard out here in an hour. So
yeah,
don't worry. Those of you that know, this usually goes for 2+ hours.
2+ hours when we do it live, because
don't worry,
too much fun.
It is. It certainly is. I mean, it's easy to talk about TV in a more conversational fashion, I feel like. When it comes to movies, we, believe it or not, really dig down. I like to talk about some of the history. This is more like, this is what I've been watching. This is why I like it. It's TV, not in the derogatory sense, not like it used to be.
Not yet.
You're right. I've got a derogatory one also. But I'm going to start with in fact, some quickies, some updates, if you will. I'll keep them down to one.
All right, we can do that. I can do that. A couple. Okay. I can.
No, yeah, I
can knock out a couple that are just blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Neither of us have any influence over the other's strategy. We try to throw each other off, and really it's just because we're bad at this. But
yes, and the scoring will. By the way, we have not discussed this yet today on this episode
or ever.
So scoring will, as always, be Calvin Ball rules and to you.
Okay. I've been watching some more of the new Unsolved Mysteries. They released some new episodes on
So
Netflix.
there are new unsolved mysteries.
Yeah, there's been, I want to say 2 seasons might have been the last time we talked about this.
But you're telling me there are still mysteries that are unsolved? And they're being solved on this program on Netflix?
No, that is the one thing I'm missing, because I remember watching the original back in the day.
Stack.
They would, yeah, well, number one, absolutely. Clarence. But wait, did he say, was that his line? No,
I don't think that was his, but no, I don't remember.
Anyway,
but yes,
from
good
Airplane.
movie. We like it. Did you say from Air America? Yes, that movie.
No, Airplane.
Oh, Air America, correct.
Isn't that the
Mel Gibson,
South
Robert
Park?
Downey Jr.
Oh wow, no, I'm thinking, what's the puppets? America, South Park.
Team
guys.
America.
Team America. Good gosh, it's like the movie Olympics won't not come out of us. No, what I miss, and I didn't even have this in mind, but you remind me now. I miss the original when I used to see what I'm guessing were reruns, or maybe they just, in the time between making the first episode and it coming out, I don't know. They would have those little things on the end that were like, hey, there's been some developments, or we found the guy, or whatever that was.
Sure,
do you remember those parts?
Yeah. The little bumper stuff, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Excuse me. None of those for the new episode. So I do miss that, but I think they've done a pretty good job of setting that series apart from all of the true crime. I'm sure this kind of came back because of the true crime craze,
Definitely.
that's going on. But I think they're doing a decent job of both remembering what made the original interesting.
Yeah.
And I talked a little bit about this last time. There were episodes about like ghosts and
right. Yeah, I remember
aliens. That. I want to say there was probably some of those in there. They do a pretty good job of bringing some of those back, which I think is hard today, because it's hard to make a case for things like that, and when everything's been cataloged and you can see a satellite image of everywhere and all that stuff. But they do a good job. Like some of those episodes are still my favorites that they put together, putting some mystery back into the world. It seems like. So
I'll have to tell Beth. I don't think she's watched any of those, and I mean,
does she do the true crime thing?
Of course she does.
She's a woman at home.
She's a middle-aged woman.
Yes,
of course she is.
Okay.
Now, is there a host, or is it like
no? Yeah, that is another maybe downer. Who would you get to replace Robert Stack in this day and age?
Who do you get? It's got to be some God, who? I mean,
I can't think of anybody. Yeah, I don't have an answer.
It's Sam Elliott. I don't know. I don't know that I want Sam Elliott telling me about true crime so much as I want him talking to me about meat and how nice sarsaparilla is. Also,
anytime Sam Elliott tells me about true crime, I become scared. Like it's, which I guess maybe is what you want, but
maybe I don't know.
It's quite threatening.
It feels like it could be. Yeah.
Have you gotten to that season of Justified, by the way?
I have not.
Oh boy, the Sam Elliott season of Justified might be the last one even. I can't remember.
Timothy Oliphant, though, for real. Exactly. He makes me all a titter.
So yeah, Unsolved Mysteries, quite fun. Would recommend.
Nice.
And what to you, sir?
Yeah, sure. There was a limited series that we finished watching, and it was 1,000 years ago, called Pistol. It was about the Sex Pistols. It was.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It was.
Oh, that came and went. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, it was, a limited series, and it was also came and went. It seriously was like last summer, I think.
Yeah, I guess I don't know
Feels
what my.
like it was that long ago.
Yeah. I don't know what my metric is anymore for. I keep hearing about this, even though
in any
it's
case,
not on anymore.
We did watch it. It was full of interesting. It definitely drove us down the history lane of okay, what was the actual truth here? Because they got most of it, but then like every movie does.
Yeah.
We're
not looking for a documentary here. If it's not being,
it's not a documentary, which it's not. But it was cool. It was an interesting kind of take on the story and how where the it is about the Pistols, and it's about but it's from Steve's perspective, the guitar player, and it's based on the book he wrote. So the stories are so it's an interesting story from it's an interesting perspective from
a relatively hinged member of the band.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah. More than anything, I think it's interesting to hear it from I feel like for what the movie sensationalized, it's still less sensationalized than like it's almost mundane when you really think about the situation going on with how the Pistols exist. All the stuff in his life that happens, it's interesting. And the stuff, there's like a ton of stuff with Chrissie Hynde and how she, like what she did in London and how she finally got fed up with everybody and was like, you know what, that's it. I'm just doing my own thing now. I'm done with all of you. You're driving me nuts. Mm-hmm. And all of them being like, you are so much better than everybody here. Why are you here? So that being part of it, but there's a whole mess of things in there that it's interesting to kind of think about. You're watching this in a film, but when you think about it in the grand scheme of the Sex Pistols, like so much of this is just mundanity, and it's really novel in that I definitely believe more of this than not, and it seems like a lot of it tracked. So it was cool. It was fun.
Any comment on the Johnny Rotten? So that is the one thing I remember about that show is that he was out and about when it was coming out, just pooping all over the whole thing. Like he was not.
Well, of course he was.
Right,
Johnny Rotten.
Also,
but look, let's be real. So John Lydon is a piece of garbage for one. Two, okay. I have a friend who's a diehard, freaking loves PIL. Loves PIL. Hates the Sex Pistols. Does not care.
Public Image Limited? Was that what? I always forget. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's Johnny Rotten.
Johnny Rotten's follow-up.
That's just
essentially,
him. Yeah. And loves that, but does not like the Sex Pistols. Has zero interest. Did not like punk. Not any of that. He is, and he's like, he is the guy that John Lydon wants to talk to now. John Lydon has no interest in talking to people about the Sex Pistols. He doesn't want to relive it. He doesn't want it brought up. He doesn't want it litigated. Because he knows he is a jag. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah, if you watch some of those interviews, that kind of jives because he doesn't say a whole lot other than like he doesn't expound. I guess he's like, this isn't representative. Yeah. This isn't good, and there's kind of no follow up from. I mean, I haven't watched every interview, but anyway, okay. That makes sense.
He doesn't like signing. At one point, he really didn't. He wouldn't, if people were lined up at a record store for his PIL record, he wouldn't sign Sex Pistol stuff. He just wouldn't do it. I
mean, I can almost understand that, but also, yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so anyways, it was cool.
Well, let's just follow that right up with Lego Masters Season 3.
Oh, so close to finishing it, and yet
are
so
you?
far.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, continue. Talk about it. Why we don't care about the spoilers.
How close are you to finishing it?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay. It has one of the biggest upsets. How far into it are you? Do you know the contestants so far?
I do. I don't remember them because we haven't watched it in a while. So it's one of those I have to turn it back on and I catch it. So I think we're on the 5th episode.
Yeah, our problem was we caught it while it was coming out. So we watched up until there weren't any more episodes and then forgot about it for months, because
that's pretty much it.
Okay.
You're reminding me now.
It has one of the biggest, the reason I ask is because it has one of the biggest, I think, injustices of the entire series with the doctors. I'll come out and say it. Yeah, should have gone home round 2. Did not. Stuck around for quite a while. But somewhat maybe redeem themselves towards the end, but
interesting. I have not had an issue with the doctors.
I know. Well, not okay. Really? Again, 1 episode in, maybe 2, because I want to say 2 or 3 is when they, in my opinion, definitely have the worst build, and should have gone home. But
I just don't remember. Do you remember the builds?
Also, don't remember.
Yeah, so that's one of those I did, but. Okay,
yeah.
I believe you.
I'll be. It's not an objective statement.
I don't like doctors either. I'm anti-vax, just like you.
I just watched speaking of TV, Aubrey Plaza SNL, where they do the whole.
I have not watched it yet. I can't.
It's one of the I've heard people don't like the current season or SNL or whatever. I think
I haven't watched any
it's
of it.
always a
'cause they took it
strange
off of Hulu.
conversation for me because it's sketch comedy. I feel like that describes a genre wherein some of it's not going to land, and that's sometimes why it does land. Or to me, it's always an interesting study. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
they did a bit on the Miss America, or no, Miss, I guess, Universe World. I don't know, the pageant where France just
A pageant.
goes nuts.
Oh,
Yeah.
France!
Yeah.
That was great. Good stuff.
So it was pretty good. But in that, they asked Miss France, "Do you have anything else that you'd like to say?" And she's like, "Don't take the vaccine." That's why I thought of that. But Lego Masters Season 3, yes. I think the only reason I'm upset about the doctors is because in every other episode, like, I have a 95% hit rate where I'm like, oh, that one wins. And it always wins. Like, I'm just, you can tell, I guess.
95% of the time,
Yes,
all the
apparently,
time.
yeah, because of the doctors. So,
the doctors.
Whatever. It's still a great fun, maybe one of my favorite reality, I guess,
it's so
shows
much fun
out there.
to watch. Yeah.
It's fun to watch. It's positive. You know, it's got kind of the British Bake Off thing going where everybody just loves each other. They're all like crying every episode. I've never seen so many tear ups when people have to go home.
It spurs imagination too. Like, it makes
yep.
you want to play with Legos. Like, admittedly, every season I go, I want to buy Legos.
It's just also very well written in the fact that, I mean, like, they come up with super interesting challenges, and yes, they're blowing up a lot of things. It feels like that's become kind of the norm almost here and there. So there's still a lot of that, and that is always fun. But I'm struggling to think of the challenges they came up this season. But I remember being like, wow, they're still doing it. They still come up with it. And Will Arnett, I will say, there's a little bit of him, riffing. There's a little bit of him. It's definitely scripted stuff. It all lands for me. I think he does a great job. So
he does a great job. He is kind of a perfect host for that show. Like, he's got the right attitude.
Yep.
And he seems to genuinely enjoy it. Like, he seems to have fun with it. Like, it doesn't seem like a struggle. So yeah.
So Lego Masters Season 3 would recommend. Every season it continues to be that way. So there you go.
All right. I'm gonna hit you with
your best shot.
2 really fast.
Fire away.
Boys Season 3. Finish that up. I can't remember if I've talked about this or not. That show never fails to be. That show is the perfect amount of gore, ridiculousness, but somehow still manages to have these underlying stories and themes and moments between characters that you're just like, I recognize how they're going up and down. I recognize all the things that they're doing. Like, it's just good. It's not that it's not a good comic show. It's a good show. Like, all of for all of the excess, I think that the show does such a good job critiquing what it's trying to critique. And Eric Kripke, the creator of the show, the showrunner, the dude nailed it. Like, he's they've taken most of the stuff from the books that I think is palatable and brought it over, and even some stuff that isn't.
I was gonna say, are the books even worse in a way? Like, do they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Way worse. The books. Yeah.
Okay.
But Season 3, I love it as a show. I think it's a great adaptation, which is what it should be. It's familiar characters, but it's familiar story, but it's not the same. And it's great. It's great. It's better for it.
Are they doing the Walking Dead thing where it's kind of its own thing, loosely based, or are they adhering pretty closely to the comic stories?
No, it's further away than The Walking Dead, but it's not so far away that it doesn't make sense in the
sure.
Like, you can see it, but
so they're not necessarily doing the thing where, like, Walking Dead. I feel like every season Walking Dead would, like, tease a character that you would know from the comics, absolutely, even if the storyline wasn't exact.
Oh, sure. So they do that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, they're definitely doing that. Any character that there are characters from the books that they're bringing over, but, like, even with Season 2, they're changing so much up. Like Stormfront in season 2 is completely different from the comics in every
Okay.
respect, and better. Again, I think it for the show. I thought it was a better choice.
Love it. Good adaptation then.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, you had 2 quickies. Sorry.
Yeah.
I almost,
And then I also wanted to briefly mention
not legal in volleyball. You can't hit the ball 2 times on the same side, from what I understand.
Well,
so.
you can set it.
It fell right into my trap.
So I'm setting myself up, and also just following along with the crazy superhero stuff. I went back and rewatched all of Invincible, and man, that show it's an incredible, like, brilliant adaptation. Again, another adaptation I think is great, and it does have one of, just the most disturbing things you could ever think about. It's just Robert Kirkman really knocked it out of the park with how disturbing those characters can be with each other, and specifically it is Invincible and Omni-Man.
And from what I understand, I want to say that one does adhere pretty closely to the comics, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth a watch if you are interested in that story. It's not what you think it is.
Did season 2 drop? I mean, I've heard enough, and I think I've had it spoiled enough that I know. I was, in fact, we don't need to relitigate this. Turned off by the trailer. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But anyway, season 2 has dropped, or you're watching this in preparation for? Okay. Yeah,
I was watching. I was actually just watching this because I had. Somebody brought up the super awful moment with the train, and I was like, I forgot about. I just need to rewatch the whole show, and yeah, I love me some gory cartoon.
Yeah, friend of the show, Adam Parkin, sent me a message, a Discord, not me, sent us a Discord, wherein he first said this was a brand new computer. He's not used to using computers. He doesn't know how they function mostly, for the most part.
Right.
And also he really liked Invincible. So that's two against one over here. But
yeah, but if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I mean,
I don't know. Like I said, the trailer, I'm not gonna condemn an entire show on the trailer, but for now,
I sure will. Here we go. Name a trailer.
Suicide Squad.
What are we? Some kind of
no. Yes, anyway. I say that because the entire movie is a trailer. That was the joke.
Yeah. Okay. Here. Hold on for a second. If you bring it up again,
it's a box cutter to his wrists. The man who has in the past said he didn't mind that movie so much, or as much.
I love it. I think David.
Okay, all right,
I love that David Ayer continues to post pictures and stuff from it. Like still to this day, he's like, "Oh, release my cut, dude. Let it go."
Does he
buddy.
really?
Yeah,
Does
dude.
really?
He has tried so hard to get the whole release the David Ayer cut out or whatever. Like he does yesterday, like just yesterday or something, posted a new picture, a never before seen picture of Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh my!
Yeah.
God.
It's really funny. It's
the idea of David Ayer trying to keep the hashtag Aircut alive is one of the saddest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
I just let it go, dude.
Okay, all right. I will. Thank you. This I probably should have mentioned up front because I don't want to spend as much time as I should on this show, which means I should spend an entire show on it. 2 shows, 3 shows, 4 shows. But I did finally finish the trip across Better Call Saul. So I don't think I could be more effusive than I have been in the past. It is just one of the best pieces of media, even, outside TV, whatever you want to. It's just one of the best pieces of what do we call content before we called it content and then got tired of calling things content?
Quality television.
Quality television, sure. Prestige TV.
Prestige
but again,
TV.
It transcends. It's just one of the best that's ever been, top to bottom. Each episode is flat out gorgeous. Each episode, I'm
season 2, episode 3. I think is where I'm at.
Okay, all right. It gets better. It's good from the start, but even by the end, you're going to be like, okay, even technically, I'm not sure how this happened. Like the technicality of it all is amazing. It's just
I
such
I
an amazing thing.
I am freaking so the parts. Okay, so I watch it about once a week-ish. It's one of those, like, when I get the time, because I that's one I want to. I will not pause and come back into the middle. Like, I have to watch the full episode.
Smart.
And the last one,
I mean, most of the time you don't have a choice, is how that works, really. But
well,
yes.
yeah. But like, just the play between him and I can't remember any of the other characters' names right now. Him,
I mean, it's been a while, but you've got Saul, if I remember.
Yes, well, Saul, but
Kim.
Kim, that's her name. Kim Wexler.
Yes,
Kim Wexler. But the play between him, Kim, and the other, like, the head of the one
Howard
firm, Howard.
Yep.
So good, man. That stuff is just so good.
Howard is, and I think that's the interesting part of the beginning of that show, is because there's a few kind of archetypes. That's underselling it so bad. Like I regret using the word, but you kind of know where Howard fits in the story, even though the minute to minute or the construction is beautiful and amazing. But he is given such due, and that is in no way spoiling anything that happens.
No.
It's amazing. By the end, that I'm just impressed, so impressed by every single character, the arc that they've taken, the performances that have been turned in for each. It's just so good across the board.
And plus, it's fun to see vampires, energy vampires, do their thing in other programs.
Yep, he's in there. It's funny because any character he plays, Mark. It's spelled weird, but I think it's Probst. Or no, that's Jeff Probst.
That's Jeff Probst.
Probst.
I don't know. That guy.
Yeah, that
energy
guy
vampire.
Does a great job. I feel like he's always an energy vampire to some extent. But
the entire plot, the entire arc with him, like, I was dying from minute one because I'm like, I cannot wait to see how this blows up. Like, and then because also the first time he shows up, we also get a very cool what's his name, GTA 5 Simon Walking Dead guy.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's been so long. He showed up. He was like in every show I was watching for a second, and now I haven't seen him maybe since then.
Yeah, well, Walking Dead finished, and that was his.
Is Walking Dead actually done now? That is, I guess. I know Rick left, and they're like, no, it's still going.
Not a technical from the technical. The show of The Walking Dead is done.
Okay.
There are 3 spin-offs that are coming. But
Well,
The Walking Dead is
Fear the Walking Dead, I know, is still out and about, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not even like, that's totally different.
Wow. Okay.
Like,
sure.
so there's a show called, like, Dead. These are still so dumb. One is called Dead City, and that's Maggie and Negan: The Adventures in New York. One is was
Maddie
supposed to
and Negan. Who's
Maggie.
Maddie?
Maggie.
What?
Negan killed her husband with the baseball bat, and now they're gonna go hang out in New York because they're friends. Yeah, it makes sense.
You're not making me want to finish out that show. Sure.
There's a show that's supposed to fill out a little bit of it, like because Michonne left like towards the end of the series. She's gone. So there's a Michonne and Rick show that's like 6 episodes long.
Rick is back, or 6 miniseries.
Just for this 6 episodes to kind of explain where he went, and like it's the next part or whatever. And then there was supposed to be a Daryl and Carol show, but the woman who played Carol was like, no, I'm not doing this. It dropped out. So now it's just a Daryl show. And I think it's supposed to be him crossing the ocean. Like he somehow gets to Paris and gets to France, and I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Some of that sounds interesting. I'll give you that, but I have yet to finish the initial. Wasn't there a thing where like we couldn't not talk about The Walking Dead for a while there? I feel like it just kept coming up. So
probably
good to have it back.
Yeah,
I guess. Better Call Saul is one of the best TVs or pieces of media that's ever been. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I don't know if it's just happenstance that every single person ends up giving the performance of their career, but they do. It's just endless amounts to appreciate. So I think it's technically your turn.
It's that Vince Gilligan guy. He knows what he's
Yeah,
doing.
I mean, yeah, sure. It's a team, but he does appear to have the touch, obviously.
Yeah, no,
so.
it's. I mean, it. Yeah, he's writing goes a long way, and then picking good actors, of course.
And people are like, "Oh yeah, Breaking Bad, that's right." Vince Gilligan's like X-Files, like he's X-Files alum.
X-Files
that
too, dude.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it started way
But
before. But anyway,
I think he did like the best episode, the best X-Files episode. He did that one, home one. I think.
the most. I think you're confusing best with most controversial. Like
Yeah.
that, I believe that has been banned from TV. Like got on
Yeah,
TV on a fluke, and not speaking of fluke, also one of the
Not
best
the Fluke
episodes.
Man.
Fluky,
My
yeah.
one of my favorites. Yeah, I do love it.
But yes, I believe since that episode will not be aired by any station so far. But
Yeah,
anyway.
you could. We found it. It was on. It was definitely on Netflix when Netflix had the X-Files.
Oh, okay.
And it was on Hulu as well. I mean, you can get it on the DVDs as well.
That's weird. Netflix usually has such high standards and
So do they?
practices, which I only say because we are at the point in 30 Rock, not on my list this week, but we are at the point in 30 Rock where Kenneth is working for standards and practices. So
we just hit the Jeffrey Wiener slave episode.
Wiener Slave. It's pronounced Wiener Slave.
Wiener slave.
One of the
Well,
more
we-
underappreciated and yet like in your face aspects of the Liz Lemon character is her kind of failed liberalism. Not failed, but compromised liberalism, always
Oh,
trying so hard. Yeah, anyway.
yeah, no, it's great. And no, everything about Liz Lemon is perfect, and
Yep.
she is. Yes. Yellowstone. So we got we're up to season 5 on that one, I think. We're actually waiting to watch the prequels, so we've got the prequels kind of lined up.
Wow, you guys are all in. I knew you
Super
were
fun.
liking it, but man,
Look,
okay.
Okay, here's the thing. The show is just goddamn, it's just so freaking engrossing. It's so good. Taylor Sheridan knows how to put these things together, man. And so, okay, great. We got this Kevin Costner vehicle, right? And he's like, I'm not a huge Costner fan. Sure, whatever. But then we get to go back to 1903 with Harrison Ford and like
Oh, okay.
and, like,
did
Helen
see that,
Mirren.
right?
and then there's another one. That's like 1883 or something. So yeah, we're super into that. And then also I found out so lined up probably going to watch it before those actually is Mayor of Kingstown, which also is a Taylor Sheridan joint and has the Renner in it. And we want to see Jeremy Renner before, see what happens. This show's supposed to be pretty good. It's a crime drama show.
I was gonna say I'm confusing that with the Kate Winslet thing. Was that
yes,
another
which
mayor?
was freaking so good.
I think you talked about that last time.
That was
yeah.
Mayor of Easttown, except
Okay.
this is
Wow.
Mayor of Kingstown.
Even closer than I thought it was going
Yeah,
to be, actually.
but her name is Mayor, Mare. It's
Right.
Mayor of yeah.
Okay.
That show was incredible. It was phenomenal. But at Yellowstone, man, Yellowstone is such an engrossing, silly drama that continues to somehow build upon the ridiculousness of this family and their power or lack thereof or what they need, and watching them bring like people into the fold and then having to get rid of it's just so it is Wild West soap opera at its finest.
That I was
Like, it's-
literally going to ask that. I feel like every time I hear it's like the Downton Abbey argument. Like I'm so
Yes.
engrossed in this because it's a soap opera. Like they've got the operatic. Yeah. Okay. Well.
And the thing, the great thing is, Paul, they were talking about this on like Freedom or something recently, where Paul mentioned, yeah, I don't really know what's going on in Downton Abbey, but I will watch every single episode of it because I think things are cool in there. I want to look at the cars, but I don't know what's going on. So I don't have to know to want to watch the show. And that's one of these where like Beth will turn it on and I may not be paying attention to it, but I'm hearing it in the background. I'm like, okay, so I know what's going on. And then I'll turn around and start watching. And then I'm just there. I'm done. I'm in. That's it.
Yep. Here's your next Taylor Sheridan joint, by the way. The writer for Hell or High Water and Sicario also.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he also created and or has some story input for Tulsa King, that Stallone.
Hey, I love Tulsa. I mean, I love Stallone.
We just talked about how he's never a sell for you, so I thought I'd tease you with it.
I'm a selling point. How you doing? What do you want? I'm selling. Hey.
Yeah, I think there's probably. I think let's put it this way. I think Candy would enjoy the heck out of this thing. Like,
yeah,
maybe the biggest hurdle for me is the whole cowboy thing.
I got you.
I know it's not super red statey at the very least. Like you've
no,
told
I
me
was
that,
none of that's got nothing to do with any of this.
Right.
Like, but like it's there's one character in the show, this character named Jimmy, who's maybe one of the most interesting characters you could have. Everybody else on the show knew how to ride except for him. In real life, they all were familiar. They all knew how to ride. They cast him specifically because he didn't know how to ride, and they wanted him to learn as he went on the show. So he has become this excellent rider, and then in the show becomes a bull rider, and they're like, it is all sorts of stuff. It's about land rights. It's about humanitarian. It's about humanitarian rights. It's about like it's about the history between the indigenous people and what we gringos have done. It's a fascinating freaking show, man. And the thing is, it's entertaining as all hell every moment of it. Like you want to see things happen, and you're like
back of the box.
And it's great too because like the show goes from, okay, we're cowboys on a farm, except they're also I can't remember what they're livestock agents also.
Sure.
So like which is this whole thing of nepotism and corruption in the government that they're a part of to keep their land and all this stuff pristine and whatnot. But there are these like whole bunches of sections of the show where there's shootouts where people are like gearing up and there's 50 guys with semi-automatic rifles shooting at
cowboy heat. You just described. Okay.
It is. And then you're like, oh, but who are they shooting at? They're shooting at Anthony Michael Hall, and they're shooting at that one guy who I can never remember his name. He's not David Morris, but he's the other dude who was in like every CW show. He's got super blue eyes.
Martin McDonough? Or
That's
Neil
him.
McDonough, sorry.
Yeah, Neil McDonough. Yeah, that guy.
That's literally the first guy I thought about when you said who I can never remember his name. But also, are you sure it's Anthony Michael Hall and not the look-alike that's running around?
No, it's Anthony Michael Hall. It even says so in the man. Yellowstone's
even
fun.
says so. Okay, that's a dead giveaway then. All right, here Yellowstone. Here are maybe some 2 quick hits for you. Also,
okay. So now you're setting yourself up. All right, here we go. I'm on the defense.
I feel like if I just quick hit you, we're getting down to it, and you're gonna come back with another 15-minute, and then I will be buried and have lost the game.
Nope. I got you.
Let me tell you about. I've ruined a little bit of this already. I can't remember what we were actually talking about when we got to talking about the Goo Goo Dolls for some reason. But I've been continuing to watch Behind the Music. I told you this in person, but I got maybe 5. No, that's being generous. 3 minutes into the Ted Nugent episode and turned it right off. Dude,
fair.
Sucks. But
yes.
The rest of the episodes I've been watching have been just great. The Police, I had no idea they were such a boys club of weirdness between Copeland and freaking Sting or whatever.
Oh yeah, dude.
But that was a lot of fun to watch any footage they decided to include for that episode. Chicago was pretty amazing. Pretty fun one. I had no idea the stuff. I knew they had 2 different singers and just, 20-something albums. I didn't know the story behind that. Obviously, I didn't behind the music, even, if you will. But it's fascinating and cool. And I like Chicago, so I don't know if that comes into it, but good band.
25 or 6-4. You pick it.
It's your choice. Is it? Do they kind of force you into a situation there? It's a great song. In fact, not in Behind the Music. I've heard that was it Cetera refused to perform, like that Chicago did not perform at their induction to the Hall of Fame at all because Cetera told his bandmates he didn't have the range anymore to do 25 or 20
25 or 6 to 4.
25 or 6 to 4, and so they just didn't play or something like that. So I don't know. Not in this episode, but great episode. And then yes, there was the Goo Goo Dolls episode, which I go back and listen to whatever. I think I put it in the show notes still, so you can see when we talk about it. But for as lukewarm as I've always been on them, and we've admitted they're good songwriters or have written some great songs there, or however that goes.
I like Name. I think it's a good song.
That episode is one surprise after another. It's still great, which is why you like Behind the Music, even if it's, I'm watching episodes for bands that I've not typically cared for all that much.
Yeah.
And still entertaining, still fun. And has the line that I pulled this time around from, you know what? I never shout out the dude's name. Do you know the narrator's name from Behind the Music?
Not.
He's done so much stuff.
I'm not going to lie.
Jim Forbes. My gosh. Jim Forbes.
Jimmy Forbes.
At least I think he's done. Okay, maybe not. One More Time. How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, narrator. UTT narrator. Whatever that means. Always narrator. Rita Rocks. Blues Clues. Kim Possible. Infamous. The Simpsons narrator, of course, for the one Behind the Music episode they did.
Do we need this entire filmography here? We do have a limited time.
I did not mention him before.
I see you're trying to beat me here by you're trying to bury me.
Just lengthening it out.
I'm not going to let it happen.
The line I pulled in the Jim Forbes voice, if you could just translate it. It seemed the Goo Goos were goners. But they were not, of course. Yep. That's very good. The other continuing show it's funny. My wife is completely off, which I get. This is you're gonna understand. She's not on board with this show anymore.
Wait. My wife is completely off. That is not the statement you think it is.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, she's like something's wrong with her. First and foremost.
That's the statement you think. Okay, good.
Also, she's ceased to enjoy the show Amazing Stories, not the newish one that I do think is on Apple TV Plus, whatever. But the original, wherein I'm still it's still continues to be that thing where, hey, did you like the Spielberg movies from the 80s? Do you want like a 20-minute shot of that? Like, here you go.
Totally.
It is so incredibly enjoyable for that reason. There continue to be episodes with stars that you would not imagine in. Like, this is literally prestige TV before the word existed. He got Harvey Keitel. He got Beau Bridges. Written by Spielberg. A lot of these are written by Spielberg. Directed by Clint Eastwood. I found a couple of those in there. And as you might imagine, you'll get a few kind of Saving Private Ryan dry runs in there. There's at least 2 or 3 episodes. One of them's called No Day at the Beach, and it's good. It's also a great kind of class in movie making because everything is done on a budget still, you can tell. So it's kind of like Saving Private Ryan without the locations and
it's really mostly just on the Private Ryan. We're not saving anything.
To me, I find that fun. That might be part of what's turning Candy off. I don't know, but yeah, that Amazing Stories, the original. You want that 20-minute, 30-minute shot of a Spielbergian movie from the 80s. It's there. It's just waiting for you every single episode.
I like it.
And to that, for that, after that, I don't know, whatever. Your turn.
Okay. So there is a program, I guess it's on regular TV, like on NBC or something, called Ghosts, that was originally a British show. And it is about a couple that move into a house that they are somehow gifted, like it's not gifted, but, like a lineage thing. And,
inherited.
That's the word. Thank you. And they move in, and the house is haunted, and they want the people to leave. But the woman, in the British version, anyways, can see the ghosts, and the ghosts can talk to her. And she's like, you know what? No, we're going to live here together. And they kind of try to struggle living together in this.
Oh, this is a comedy.
And it is a comedy, yes.
Okay.
And I believe in the U.S. version, Lily Sullivan, shout out. I think she's got a couple of bits in it. I haven't seen
fantastic.
I have not seen the U.S. version. It is supposed to be quite funny.
Oh, you're talking about the British version, though, right now.
But yes, we only watched the UK version because I didn't know. I had no idea. We watched the UK version, and
no, that's fine. I'm not like saying like, oh, you watched the British version on accident. The US version is right there.
It's really funny. It is such so. The crux of the show, though, is that all of the ghosts, of course, died there. So it's ghosts from ages, and one of them is a caveman. who is still not quite like, he has definitely learned from being dead for so long, but he's still not very smart. One of them is like an old British general who's very stuck in his ways, being British right in the way. Here we go, World War I type thing. There's like a slave, I think there's she was a maid,
indentured servant,
an indentured servant, something like that nature. It just, and they all, of course, are extremely different, like personalities, and watching them come together and argue with each other and argue with her, and her trying to ignore them while doing stuff to fix up the house, potentially to sell it or to do something to make money, all while her husband absolutely believes her and supports her and knows that the ghosts are there and also has to deal with it, but can't see them or deal with them or talk to them.
Wow, this sounds like a no-brainer. Like, how has this not been a show already? Actually,
if you have not seen that, you need to get the British one, and then check the American one out. But
are we clear? British, am I allowed to watch the British? It's not going to be a
only that one.
Okay. The American one, speaking of which, doesn't look horrible. It's got
it's supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be a very good adaptation, very funny.
All apologies, Utkarsh Ambudkar, who you've definitely seen before and is quite entertaining all the time, plays the husband, it looks like. So
yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Ghosts, check that out.
I actually think I might.
Yeah, no, it's really funny. I think Candy will like that one too.
Who's the wife? Because in this shot, it looks like Gilly.
In the British version?
No, in the American. Sorry, yeah. Why would I ask that?
I have
Rose
no idea.
McIver.
She was in Rose McIver. Oh, that's great. She was in iZombie. She was the main character in iZombie.
Why does she look familiar? Known for The Lovely Bones. iZombie, you are correct. And A Christmas Prince. So
that's why.
Excellent.
Ghosts. Good stuff. And then following up on that, sticking with the hilarity, Welcome to Flatch continues. The seasons have continued to go on. That show is legitimately the funniest freaking show in the world to Beth and I. It is just too funny. It's so perfectly done. Everything, like, there are so many funny things that are just little small town things we recognize, and they just do such a great job with it. It's very humorous, very like a lot of love with the show. It's mostly a positive thing. All the newer characters they've brought on have been funny, and the fact that Aya Cash is a chicken lady, that's a crazy chicken lady now, is just great.
That is Sean William Scott.
It sure is. He's great. He is amazing. He's not only is he the town pastor, but he's also a former boy band singer for a Christian boy band. And that is a plot point.
He does not look like a boy anymore, by the way. You might see Stifler looking pretty old here in this photo that I'm seeing.
And the best part is that they definitely did, like, we're gonna shoot videos, we're not gonna de-age him. We're just gonna put him in the outfits and take pictures and act like he was. And the show is freaking hilarious, dude. It's so funny. And I can't recommend it enough. We actively look for new episodes on Hulu every week. Like, we're like, is there a new Flatch out? Is there a new Flatch?
In maybe the funniest move of his life, would you like to spell Mr. William Scott's first name?
Seann.
Yeah, 2 N's. What's going on?
Sean.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, he's a little
Uh,
weird.
You know, I said I would, so I'm going to. If this is a volley, it's a weak one, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Did you stick with Picard
No,
by any chance? Season 2
not
of
at all.
Picard? Well,
No.
you cannot. I
Thank you.
as the arbiter of Star Trek, I feel like between us, you can skip it. It is, my gosh, it's kind of the worst of both worlds. There's a Star Trek joke for you.
That's good. I like it.
Because it is the characters you want to see and the callbacks you want to hear done in just the worst ways possible. It is, I mean,
So-
it's poorly written is the problem. I think maybe if the whole season was told a good story, I'd be maybe a little bit more forgiving. But it's
Sure.
not. There's filler upon filler upon filler. It's so stinking annoying. There's callbacks to the Star Trek movies because I believe they time travel, so they're in
Nemesis.
no, that would be more appropriate. Maybe they called back, which I'm an apologist. Don't get me wrong. I am that much of a Star Trek fanboy. Go watch Nemesis. But no, they call back to good Star Trek movies and flub it. So there's like I want to say they actually got the guy from the Star Trek. I always get for as much as a fan as I am, I always get the numbers of the movies confused. The whale
Dude,
one where they go to San
that's-
Francisco,
right,
voyage
yeah,
home.
yeah.
I think right.
That's the fourth one, I think. Or the
Okay, well, they actually brought the dude back where Spock is on the bus and the guy's playing loud music and he Vulcan pinches him to pass out and everybody claps. They brought the actual guy back with a mohawk again on the bus playing some loud music. And I think this time they ask him to turn it off and he just turns it off and he's like, okay, sorry. You know, he's really nice about it. So they try. And it honestly, that they got the actual guy, fun. But I think by that point, my problem was just like not going to win me back, certainly at this point. None of the charm of TNG, none of that next generation stuff that they're trying to trade on. It's got restless camera syndrome. It just won't stop moving for no reason. They finally try and do what might be a holodeck episode and quite possibly a heist at the same time. There were always those episodes where Picard would go in or get trapped in some way.
Yeah.
And maybe he would be, I forget.
Sherlock Holmes. There was the Sherlock.
Oh yeah, those
it was
ones
the
are
Sherlock
fantastic.
Holmes.
Yeah,
with
Data. Actually, I
yeah.
think those are more
Data,
often the Data
sure.
episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes,
Picard went in for the hard-boiled detective, the noir.
Yes,
Dix
I do remember.
was what
actually,
the secretary called him. I think I can't remember his full name though. Dixon Hill. Wow,
I don't know. Dixon ass.
I shouldn't be trusted. Maybe yeah. After this, the whole thing just so slapdash, and all of my arguments from the first season, which I enjoyed despite its faults, are still here. So it's not like they get a pass this time. All the tech stuff is played with kind of fast and loose. None of the technobabble hits. It's just a much lesser production. It's only for super fans. It's only for the people that want it and aren't going to think about it. It's have a blast with it. But if you're in for a story and some really meaningful callbacks, you're not going to get it. I will say this, it escalates, all of the bad does escalate in a way that the finale is worse than everything. It just seems like a mad dash. They're like throwing everything at the screen. And for maybe the biggest reveal, which I will spoil, they finally get Will Wheaton back into the series, which I know he's had his ups and downs. Yeah, a lot of people don't. I'm fine with him at this point. Maybe I don't know the story behind the whole thing, whatever. But it's in the worst way possible. Like, do you remember how he left the series, the Next Generation, how he went out?
Everybody hates him and go away.
No. See, that's not the meta of how.
Yeah, doesn't he go to school or something like that?
No. Yeah, I almost don't want to spoil it for you, but it's.
Go ahead. I don't care.
It's wild. Like his storyline about how he leaves the Enterprise is pretty fantastic. So they bring him back in the way that you're like, wow, this there's maybe more to mine from how he left than almost anything. And they bring him back and they do that, and you're like, no, you're like not not like this, like not.
It's that moment. Every
Mhm.
time you say it, I think of Switch in the
Yep.
Matrix. Not like
And
this.
it is that.
this.
So Picard season 2, not like this. Go, watch it at your own risk, I guess.
Well, here, okay, let me volley this back to you.
All right.
With something a little more upbeat that is the polar opposite of that. Finished the entire season of Welcome to Wrexham, season 1. It's on Hulu. It is Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny and Deadpool himself.
Oh, right. This is the name of the team he bought with Reynolds. Is that right?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
That's it. I knew his name was Ryan Reynolds. And it is the team is in Wrexham, and Wrexham is a town in Wales. And the whole show is getting past. You have to get past the self-indulgence behind what this is. Because that's all this is on a surface level. It is self-indulgent. It's two guys that have spent a boatload of money on a football team to now they're basically saying, "Hey, Americans, we are trying to get attention. We want money." That's it. They're trying. They want to bring attention. Which great. They on the surface level, like maybe that sounds garbagey, but you watch this show. And I just can't tell you, man, this is one of the most wonderful pieces of drama that I've watched. Like it was funny and sad and exciting. And it's because it's not just about them. It's actually more about the team, and it's not just about the team. It's about that city and that so Wrexham is real small. And this is like their thing. This is everybody in Wrexham is watching Wrexham when Wrexham plays. That's all you're doing. Like everything there's the pubs are open, everything else is shut down. And this camera crew, they stick with a handful of pub regulars and a pub owner that are not connected to the club. They're just club fans. They stick with them throughout the whole like kind of show, season of the show. We also get lots of stuff with Rob and Ryan Reynolds coming in and out, explaining things. We get tons of behind the scenes with the players, what they're doing with the coaches, also how a team is run. So there's all this stuff where they talk about how the finances work and all this stuff. And it sounds really stupid, but when you put this together, somehow it becomes this incredible story that interweaves all of this stuff with the drama of the sport itself, because we get lots of game time. We are seeing players get injured, come in and out. We're watching players get talked about the transfer window, and we've got to bring somebody in. We've got to buy somebody to make this team better. And what are the fans going to do? And then what happens when we travel and all this stuff. And it is so incredibly engrossing. Like, it's so much fun. You just can't help but become a fan of this team. You don't even care. Like, you're never going to look them up, maybe. You're never going to Google it. But during this show, you are going to watch, and every game you see them play, you're going to be like, please win. Please win. No, oh my gosh. And you can feel the investment that they are building for you. But it's so good. It's such a, like, for as self-indulgent as it is, I think there is a really beautiful piece of pure people, like a pure documentary about these people. And when you get to know them and see them throughout the season and see them go, their highs, their lows, their ups and downs as they go with the team, and in how it affects their lives and stuff, it's incredible. It's such a cool show. And Welcome to Wrexham is, even if you don't care about sports, like, I think this is something where you can understand the passion that people feel. And this show is about that. And it really, really beautifully pinpoints the people of Wrexham, from old, elder women to young children that are just playing. everything in between, everyone in between, the players, everything. It's great. It's a cool show.
That is unexpected.
It was incredible. I really liked it. So it was upbeat and fun.
I've been digging. Is it how much of it? It sounds like it focuses more on the people than it does on Reynolds and I can never say his last name correctly.
McElhaney.
McElhaney.
It's a really, really good mixture. They are maintained throughout the show, so you're never too many episodes without seeing them. Obviously, that's something you want because they're famous.
Well, I was gonna say because they've done a lot of stuff since. In fact, I want to say this isn't their only financial endeavor together or something like that. But they've had videos as they've come together in this way of themselves kind of playing off each other, and those have been kind of okay entertaining to me. It's not something I'm seeking out. So
it's in there, quite a bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's a good mixture of all of it. It does focus on the people, but it focuses a lot on the team. Like you get a ton of backs, like in the locker room. You're hearing at the games, you're hearing the halftime, you're listening to the coach talk to the players, you're hearing that stuff. It's not like there are entire episodes that are broken down like where it's just one player, one person, and then a little bit of like background from actually the guy. Funny enough, the guy who they have kind of running the financials for the team in England, his name is Humphrey. His wife is Megan Gann, from Community. Also writes for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She is very funny.
Huh. Yeah.
But she's great and hilarious, and her husband, also Humphrey, is very funny and super interesting. And again, the show is It's foibles, it's all this stuff. It's very human. It's a very good show.
Excellent.
And
always happy to hear when something's surprising and well made. Obviously.
Okay.
This is it. You ready?
You got 5 minutes. And
5 minutes. I can do it in 5 minutes. Do you have another one? Do I need to do it in 2.5 minutes?
I've got a bunch.
I know.
But
we both have a bunch. Would you want that to be your finale? I guess is my question.
No, boy. Ugh.
All right. So I'll give you what I can. Again, my finale is the show that since we were in kind of a holding pattern, I was like, well, I watched enough TV to fill a show of TVVB. So until then, I'll just watch this show. And in my notes, I even have 6 seasons later, ... I'm now 9 seasons later, ... into this 40-minute television drama that, let me see, if I had a soundboard, maybe I could put this in after the fact, but...
Is it Law and Order?
It's Law and Order, Criminal Intent. So what do you know about Criminal Intent, the Law and Order TV? Yeah. So,
tell me all about your intent.
You know one thing about it. It's Vincent D'Onofrio's one.
Okay.
Yeah. So this
is he in it always?
Yeah. Well, okay. Good question, Matt. So I didn't watch this when it was on. I remember tuning in and being like, I was already into Law and Order, but whenever I brought this up, it was like all of the bad guys are like millionaires, which I didn't understand at the point. Criminal Intent, you're with the major case squad, and those are the only cases they work. If it's major in some type of way, which usually means money. So
money.
That's why that was recurring. But also, it just didn't land in the way that the other Law and Orders did, like procedurally.
Sure.
Criminal Intent is extremely character focused, as you might imagine, with somebody like D'Onofrio at the helm. Yeah. And not to undersell Eames. My gosh, what's her name? It's Gorin and Eames is the team, and Detective Eames is played by the always wonderful
Marcia Gay Harden.
No, but you're getting close to the captain in the later seasons. Catherine Irby. You'll recognize her when you see her.
Yeah, no, she's great. I had a crush on her when she was the tutor in D2 Mighty Ducks when I was a kid.
Oh, I was going to say the daughter. I'm pretty sure she's the daughter from What About Bob as well.
Also, she was the daughter in What About Bob.
Okay.
Yes.
She's great as well. They're both fantastic character actors, but Vincent D'Onofrio, you kind of know what you're getting into. He's always hit that level, and it's no different here. Yes, it's a much younger version of the person but he never did
well,
not bring it.
I don't like young people.
No, I've never been one, it seems.
Nope.
And funnily enough, D'Onofrio, he's with the show for so long. Again, we're talking about 9 seasons here. Towards the end, when his character goes through some things, he also appears to be going, and he's method, so who can tell? But he really does also appear to be going through some things himself. That's the thing. So anyway, back in the day when I saw this for the first time, it turned me off and I stopped watching it. So
Sure.
I came back and was like, all right, let's give it a shot. And it is fantastic. It is a stage play of a TV show. People are walking in and out of rooms.
Okay, I love that. I love when rooms are used.
And this is the amazing part is it doesn't get old. Again, first maybe 6 seasons of the thing are pretty formulaic. You know, maybe that's where the procedural part comes in.
Sure.
But there's always kind of a finale where they put the bad guy in the room with D'Onofrio and he walks around him, maybe in and out of the room, and just completely demolishes them psychologically until they admit. Yeah. And it's entertaining every single time. Again, I think now that I'm keyed into what they were trying to do with this show, it is much more of a character piece. You know, it's D'Onofrio, it seems like, given free reign a lot of the time. It is pretty darn amazing. And
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it comes part and parcel with kind of the profiler craze that was going about. I don't know.
Sure,
yeah, like
sure.
every detective was a profiler in some ways. Gorin is a profiler, but it does feel like one of the more reasoned approaches. It's trading on some of that. You know, this is still popcorn TV to some extent. But
of course, yeah, absolutely. But it
it's
sounds
just so
like
fun watching him do his thing.
It's the Bones thing, right? It's like it's the whole I always enjoyed watching Brennan do her thing. Like that's part of the drive. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And strangely, there's not a whole lot of actual, like, there's no courtroom drama to it, so they lose kind of a tenet, it seems like, of the franchise.
I'm not necessarily opposed to that.
Yeah, it's a completely different thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not.
How much Waterston is in it? That's the thing.
None, actually. I don't think he ever shows up.
Unacceptable amount.
Yes, unfortunately, because I do
Those
love
are
Waterston.
the
Which,
episodes
did you know? New episodes of we call it the mothership around here, but like original Law and Order are on, like, going, like, Waterston's back. Like, they did new episodes of that thing.
They brought like a whole bunch of them back,
Had
right? Like
no
a whole bunch
idea.
of the older. I thought I mentioned that to you.
Maybe, who knows. This show,
but I love me some Sam Waterston.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Enables an entire cavalcade of Sam Waterstons, if you will. Here are just some of the people that show up for episodes. Because this is the thing, it's a character piece not only in D'Onofrio's aspect, but they bring in people to go toe to toe with him. So you're going to see episodes with Mark Lynn Baker. Love his freaking character.
Love him in everything.
One episode with Tommy Noonan and William Sadler at the same time.
Oh, poor R.I.P. Tommy Noonan.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Pretty sure Tom Noonan died recently. Maybe I'm wrong.
If not, R.I.P. and apologies. Either way.
Yeah, either way.
Amy Ryan's in for a couple episodes. Another fun thing about a Law and Order TV show is that you'll see recurring. They take it's not like never in the same season or something like that, but you get a real feel for the New York kind of.
Apologies to Tom Noonan, still very much alive.
Okay, all right, love to hear it.
Good on you. Yeah, boy. Really fantastic. My bad.
I mean, have you seen Last Action Hero? You kind of feel like he's on the way out to some extent.
Have you seen House of the Devil?
Okay, you're
definitely looks like he's on the way out, and he's 71 or something. So good on him.
Man, yeah, come back, do something, Tommy Noonan.
We love you
in your old age. You get a real feel for kind of
Bill Sadler while you're at it.
Sure, yeah, why not? Let's reprise your roles from Law and Order: Criminal Intent. But you get a real feel for the kind of New York stable of character actors that they pull from on a regular basis. It's pretty fun. Amy Ryan makes a couple episodes. Judd Hirsch and Anthony Mackie are in an episode.
Love Judd Hirsch.
And this is the thing. I'm telling you, these people, more often than not, they are the bad guy, and that becomes the thing. Like, you're like, oh, the star is going to be the bad guy in some way.
Yeah, of course.
But because of the way they've set it up, they've kind of diffused that tension. Like, they're focusing on the storytelling of it and not the reveal,
Right.
And they nail it for the most part. Again, in these first 6 seasons, we'll get there. but you're getting Stephen Colbert. Like, he's going to be the killer, but the way he is pretty darn fun. Neil Patrick Harris, David Harbour's in there twice. He plays a master thief the first time around, really, really convincingly, very fun. Bronson Pinchot, of course, to finish the Perfect Strangers loop. Daryl Hammond, somehow.
Sure.
Ethan Embry, Malcolm McDowell, and Alice Krieg in a single episode. Oscar Isaac, Whoopi Goldberg, Anton Yelkin, Rip Torn, Betty Gilpin, and Fran Drescher, and Rita Moreno.
Hey, Gilpin fans, stand up. We yelling.
And she's in 2 episodes, but in that one, she's with Fran Drescher and Rita Moreno. Pedro Pascal also in 2.
Love Rita Moreno. I love hearing her name again. Yep. It just seems like she should never have gone anywhere. Richard
Kind, David Cross, Roy Scheider does a real tour de force piece as a criminal. Like he starts the show in jail. Jessica Walters, of course, from Arrested Development, who pretty much plays the same character, but still. Christopher Lloyd.
Wait, no. So that's the best part. She's playing the same character except with real life consequences.
Yep, pretty good, man. I'm telling you, not just Matt Salinger shows up at one point. Do you know who Matt Salinger is?
Boy, if he's not related to J.D. Salinger,
I guess I don't know, but funnily enough, I keep saying that. Is funnily actually a word?
I think it is.
Okay, just want to make sure. Funnily enough, we were concurrently watching the Albert Pune Captain America movie.
Sure.
Matt Salinger is Captain America from...
Why would he not be?
From that show. Melissa Benoist shows up, Supergirl herself.
Supergirl!
And I'm, like I said, not done with the show, so I'm sure I'll have more to add to that maybe last time around. Let me see. Some caveats I got to give you here.
Yes. You say you've said that as it goes on, it gets worse. So
yes. So
or at least alluded to.
Season 5, they start trading off. There is 2 teams. One of them is Chris Noth, who was actually, I believe, launched the original Law and Order series. They bring him back. They bring his character back, Detective Mike Logan, and his partner is not showing up. Annabelle Sciorra. Detective Carolyn Burke. You may recognize. Either way, they start trading off. It's Goran and Eames, D'Onofrio, and Chris Noth and his partner. Sorry, I should be mentioning the ladies. And it gets horrible. I don't know, like rating. It seems like the quintessential ratings were dipping. Maybe the profiler craze was finally over, so they needed to reinvent. And boy, did they reinvent it in the worst way possible with a bunch of like flashy editing and just horrible. They must have lost all of their writers. The stories are pale images of what it has been before because they're trying to do what the show has been doing up until then, but they're just not as good at it. It's so freaking bad. But you still get to watch D'Onofrio do his best and bring it every single time. So you get through it. Season 7 course corrects. Like they obviously knew this was not, I don't know what the actual story was, but they course correct. So somebody somewhere figured it out. And then we get Noth leaves, his partner leaves as well. So they're still going literally week to week. It's one team and then it's the other. We get Goran and Eames still, D'Onofrio, but now we get Jeff Goldblum and Julianne Nicholson as the other team. Yeah, did you remember Goldblum did Law and Order for a while? Yeah.
Nope.
Imagine what that might be like. It's like that, and it's pretty good. So
yeah, I can't imagine. I recently watched Transylvania 65000, and that movie is a trip. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't.
So.
Am I going to look it up?
Oh, yeah. Him and Ed. Okay.
I can finish this out. That is good. Like the Goldblum stuff is pretty darn fun. Like you will enjoy it. Eventually, Julianne Nicholson, I believe, leaves. Or they were getting into the show, but I think she also eventually leaves because she becomes pregnant, and Saffron Burrows takes her place. And they end up taking over the entire show because Goran and Eames do retire. And honestly, that episode where D'Onofrio gives Catherine Irby that hug on his way out, it is the first and possibly only time I've ever teared up at a Law and Order. It is some great stuff. Again, maybe I've been through so much. with this series at this point in such a short amount of time. But yes,
I love that.
Goldblum and Saffron Burrows take over the entire show with a new captain who, by the way, I don't mind. Eric Bogosian, I believe is his name.
Oh, I love Eric Bogosian.
Yeah. Why
huge
not?
Fan.
Does
huge
a great
fan.
job.
That guy is a genius.
But get who takes his place, and this is where you almost got it right with Marcia Gay Harden. No, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio.
Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio.
So
you mean
literally,
Maid Marian herself?
Yeah, bringing in the names, and man, is she a fantastic captain to watch. It doesn't quite reach the heights that it did in the initial seasons, I think, with D'Onofrio doing his thing, but pretty darn good, and that's where I'm at. Not quite done. That's my finale. If you want to Goldblum us out, or
here's what I'll say for my finale. The season's not over yet because it's just one season in. But do you like Columbo?
Do I like Columbo? Played the board game, haven't I?
Yeah. So I like Columbo. Now, I feel like 100 years ago there was some, and by that I mean it was like a decade ago.
Wait, are we going to talk about actual Columbo?
Yeah, there was a conversation about trying to remake Columbo, and the person that they had talked about it that had come up at one point was, and I guess this is just a few years back, was Natasha Lyonne, because she's kind of got that look and the feel like you could give it to her. She got the whole thing going on. So I don't know what Ryan Johnson was doing, but apparently in between writing Glass Onion movies, he also decided to write a show called Poker Face that is basically Columbo with Natasha Lyonne.
and Benjamin Bratt? Am I reading this correctly?
They are like hour-long episodes. She is essentially a private eye who has she just knows when people are lying, and she just calls it out. And it's her thing.
I think I have seen a trailer for this, actually.
And it is out freaking standing. It is... Natasha Lyonne, number one, is great. She's perfect. She is absolutely who should be playing a Columbo-like role. So this is great. Ryan Johnson, is that his name? Ryan Johnson?
Last Jedi, Glass
Onion.
Yeah.
That's his name, right?
Out. Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, yeah. Ryan Johnson created the show. Wrote at least one episode. Possibly directed it too. But yeah,
don't have
this
that with
is
me at the moment, but
it's a fantastic show that I cannot recommend enough. If you enjoy any type of private detective type show, yeah, you're gonna like this. You like Columbo, you're gonna like this. It's brilliant. It's great.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, this seems like an easy sell for me. Peacock original, except for that.
And it's a Peacock original. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, as with every television volleyball, we never know who wins until days after, it seems like. So if you want to participate in that, you can find us at podcast@bookclubformovies.com, Facebook, and Twitter. If you want to tell us who won in any of those places, we will tell you who lost. So come back next week for, are we still going to try Quantumania? Or
Nope,
is that
I
the
have no
moment
chance
is past? Okay.
I thought there's no life. No.
So here's maybe just to give a little heads up then. Do you think the possibility of a show is completely gone? Like, should I just talk about the movie next week during the rest of the show, or should I keep it in my back pocket for when it comes to video or something like that?
We can let's go ahead and table that for next week.
All right. So none of that next week.
I'll decide next week, because maybe I might want to talk to you about it. I've heard things. People have told me things. I'm not immune. I know what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's not setting the world on fire, but I'll tell you what, a spoiler, I liked it. You know, it's I didn't know it was the beginning of phase 5 or whatever. So, you know, I'm as happy as anybody to put phase 4. I don't know if I'm right on the phases here. Put phase 4 behind us, but
phaser.
If people are saying negative things about Quantumania, I disagree somewhat. Let's say
MODOK is everything I wanted him to be, and I was so happy to see the pictures of him.
I was going to say, you probably spoiled yourself on all that already. But
I absolutely. I wanted to see MODOK, and I mean, there were posters now, and I think it's hilarious. They leaned into what MODOK looks like. What else are you going to do with it? I mean, really?
No, yeah. What other movie could he have been in? Also, like, he doesn't show up in an Avengers. He doesn't show up, and they did it, and
I love it.
I would love to talk about it sometime.
I like that they brought the guy back for MODOK. Also, just to wrap this thing up real quick, Transylvania 65000 stars Jeff Goldblum and hold on, don't look this up yet. Don't look this up. Wait, let me tell you.
All right,
about this.
I've stopped. Right.
Okay. Stars Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah.
Gina Davis is in it. There's a whole handful of other people in it, like bunches of people. Now, the fascinating thing about this movie is, number one, that it exists, and it's about these like two journalists that go to Transylvania and run into a Dracula, a werewolf, a Frankenstein, and it's a whole thing. But the crazy thing about this movie is that, and I don't remember the whole background, but it was funded by Dow Chemicals. and it was filmed in Yugoslavia, and it had to be because Dow couldn't take the money out of the country, so they had to make a movie.
I was going to say, was this just an entire like laundering scheme?
It is. Now you can look it up and see how many people, like, the cast is insane. It's a crazy, and it is the dumbest movie you'll ever see. Carol Kane,
how does
Jeffrey
that work,
Jones,
though?
Michael
like, that money
Richards.
doesn't leave the country just because you paid Goldblum too much money to be in it.
It is. I
can't wait. Never heard of it. This is great.
They could not repatriate the funds. Yeah, no, there's a whole thing. Just look. It's in the Wikipedia for it. This movie is incredible.
I don't want to overstep. Is this next week's episode?
I mean,
okay. You said so much with so little.
It is a movie. It is a movie.
Well, come back next week for, hey, you know what? We said we might do Quantum Mania. Come back next week. We might do Transylvania 65000. No, I love that the title is a take on a Glenn Miller song of all things. So I kind of I love it. Book Club for Movies, everybody. This is where it's at. Go to our Patreon also, if you don't mind, where you can spend minimum $2, one for each, and get more.
Yeah,
of this.
Speaking of more, there's going to be a video uploaded sometime in the next week or so, unboxing of some pretty cool things that they're movies.
No idea what they're. Oh, okay, so that fits. Yes, you've sent me or are sending me some footage. I'm going to slap it together and throw it up on the Patreons where Matt has some unboxing good news for us. So
pretty
come
exciting.
back for that and everything. I shouldn't start talking quietly at the end of the show because then I always end up having to raise the volume of my voice. So goodbye.
Ha! You should talk silently.
Bye.